For generations, even just saying the word poop has been labeled gross, shameful, something to joke about or avoid. Yet few things tell the truth about a human being as clearly as what their body is trying to push out or stubbornly hold in. Deep in the dark tunnels of your gut, in that hidden universe where food is broken down and transformed, tiny, invisible battles are happening every day. Those battles quietly shape how clear your mind feels, how stable your emotions are, and how much life force and motivation you actually have access to. Your intestine is not just a plumbing pipe that takes trash out. It is an alchemist's lab, a second brain, a living archive where your body stores what it could not fully digest. Not only food, but also emotions and even spiritual experiences. Every bit of waste that doesn't leave on time is also a word you swallowed, a feeling you froze, an event you never really understood. That stuck matter turns into shadow. A biological, energetic, symbolic shadow that clings to your inner walls and, from there, whispers to you in a voice that sounds like yours but often isn't. In the ancient world, this wasn't weird or mystical talk. It was everyday wisdom. Egyptians, Greeks, peoples of Mesoamerica. They all used bowel cleansing rituals not only to heal the body, but to crack open awareness. They knew the gut collected memories, trauma, fear, and that releasing that heavy matter gave the soul space to breathe again. Cleansing the intestine for them was not vanity. It was preparation for vision, for clarity, for connection with something higher. Today, most of us are cut off from that perspective. Nay, we eat on autopilot, scroll while we chew, rush to the bathroom without being present, and pile up residue inside without noticing. Many experts estimate that millions of people carry several kilos, pounds and pounds, of retained fecal matter without any idea it's there. And this isn't only about being constipated. It's about an inner crust, a toxic inner shell that quietly colors your mood, hijacks your thoughts, and drains the vital energy that should be powering your life. So no, this chapter is not for cheap laughs or shock value. It isn't a gross-out story. It is a deep, necessary dive into one of the most ignored and yet most decisive aspects of your existence. What you do not release becomes your cage. If you refuse to cleanse your inner temple, no meditation app, no affirmation, no prayer repeated 1,000 times will take you to real awakening. They will sit on top of a system that is still clogged. If you're ready to see beyond the surface, to truly look within, to finally let go of what your body has been trying to release for years, then this is your invitation. The shadow often begins in the belly. But so does the light. Science calls the intestine the second brain. Yet the more we learn, the more obvious it becomes. In the wise design of the body, it is second to nothing. Your gut runs with a surprising level of independence. It holds over 100 million neurons, more than your spinal cord. It produces more than 90% of the serotonin in your body and is in constant conversation with your brain through the vagus nerve, shaping your mental clarity, emotional balance, and energetic state non-stop. Modern research is catching up, but ancient cultures were already living by this truth long before there were labs or microscopes. In Chinese medicine, the large intestine is the organ of letting go, of releasing what no longer serves. In Ayurveda, the colon is the home of Vata, the dosha of movement, the life wind that must flow freely or everything becomes disturbed. The Toltecs saw the intestine as the bowl of dense thoughts, the place where the mind gets tangled in everything you never dared to say out loud. Different cultures, different language, same message. What stays stuck inside you changes the way you experience reality. Now imagine that inner bowl filling up with stagnant matter that starts to rot from the inside. And with it, your sense of life. When you hold on physically, you lock yourself down emotionally. Poop that doesn't leave your body isn't just useless residue. It's dead information that still takes up space. It's the apology you never gave, the anger you never expressed, the decision you kept postponing. That matter stays there, quietly manufacturing toxins that affect not just your organs, but the emotional climate you live in every day. Many studies now show that an inflamed intestine can literally change brain activity. We call it the gut-brain axis, but it is also an axis of consciousness, because what rots inside you eventually casts a long shadow outside you. Your inner environment colors your outer world more than you realize. When your belly is blocked, your view of reality gets blocked too. Choices feel harder. Your mood dips for no reason. Anxiety builds, and you blame your job, your relationship, your personality. Without ever making the simple connection, I haven't truly evacuated in days. The body does not lie. What you refuse to release through your voice, your body will try to release through your intestines. And when it can't even do that, illness begins to take root. Chronic inflammation, irritable bowel, autoimmune conditions, dull or inflamed skin, endless fatigue. And just as real, dark looping thoughts, unshakable sadness, panic out of nowhere. So much begins there, in that invisible spiral of toxicity rising slowly from your belly toward your heart, your mind, your soul. Beyond the physical, we need to recognize the gut as a symbolic territory. In many shamanic traditions, the belly is a gateway. Through it, the soul enters this world at birth. Through it, life is nourished and sustained. Through it, what has not been transformed gets trapped. Your abdomen becomes the cauldron where true alchemy is meant to happen, and where it also fails when we ignore it. And if the fire of transformation is not burning inside, what should have become nutrient-rich compost turns into slow poison. Your intestine becomes, in that sense, a spiritual oven. When the fire goes out, stagnation begins. Your belly is an oracle, a truth teller. If you want to know how you really are, don't just look at your social media feed. Look at your daily elimination. If you can't let go from below, you will struggle to let go of what, above, is keeping you from being free. If you could open your body as someone opens an ancient book, you'd see so much more than organs and tissue. You would find layers of history, sediments of old emotions, traces of conversations that never happened. Your intestine, that long, winding corridor of living flesh, doesn't just carry leftovers of your meals. It also holds all the times you kept quiet, the truths you swallowed, the experiences you could never fully digest. It is a container of shadows, a biological record of your deepest wounds. There is a phenomenon seldom discussed in conventional medicine, but quietly feared by those who have studied bodies with reverence: coprostasis. This is more than occasional constipation. It's the gradual buildup, over years, of layer upon layer of fecal matter stuck to the walls of the colon, creating an inner crust. A plaque of waste that, in some cases, can weigh between 3 and 7 kilos, just sitting there. So many apparently healthy people. They walk, laugh, work, fall in love, moving through life with a hidden graveyard of rotting residue inside them, unconscious, unaware. But the body knows, and it cries out in its own language, that heavy breath that never truly freshens, that skin that refuses to glow no matter how much water you drink. that exhaustion you can't explain, that snappy mood you can't control, that weight you feel every single morning. None of it is random. It is your inner temple pleading for purification. It is your gut asking, will you finally listen? Because retained matter is not just physical trash. It is stored information, trapped energy that refuses to move on. Every ring of plaque stuck to your colon is a story. It is the childhood fear you were told to be strong about. It is the rage you swallowed to keep the peace. It is the grief you rushed past so you wouldn't look weak. It is the abuse that was never named, the forgiveness you never gave. It is your unshed tears turned solid. Over time, as clearly as the rings of a tree, your intestine has been building its own emotional geology. Layers and layers of everything you have not let go of, everything you are still carrying even though it's no longer yours to carry. This geology shapes how you feel about yourself and how you show up in the world. And this isn't only about feelings. Modern science is slowly confirming what ancestral wisdom has been saying all along. The toxins produced by this decaying material are reabsorbed by your digestive system, enter your bloodstream, load your liver, confuse your immune system, cloud your lymph, and silently disturb your internal balance. What was just poop becomes a whole body event. It's as if that inner shadow becomes tangible, as if everything you refuse to see on the emotional level starts living in you as heaviness, brain fog, emotional numbness. That's why some people, after doing a serious intestinal cleanse, don't just feel healthier. They make different choices. They leave relationships that keep them small, walk away from habits that were chaining them, cry seemingly for no reason, dream of their childhood, and feel as if they've been born again. They have. Because who they really are finally has room. Cleansing the intestine is not just about going to the bathroom more easily. It is about releasing stuck information. It is about letting energy move again. It is a way of telling your body, I'm listening now, and telling your soul, you are safe to let go. That is why indigenous peoples fasted and purged before ceremonies and visions. They knew, if the body is full, the spirit's voice is muffled. Emptying the body was the first prayer. So dare to look at yourself honestly. Ask, what am I still holding on to? Then start with what is most concrete, the physical. When the colon is given back its freedom, the soul starts to find its way home. Often, the first step toward awakening isn't abstract or glamorous. It is as simple and humble as emptying what is most dense. The mind becomes fragile when the body is overloaded with toxins. Wisdom traditions have taught this for centuries, and now science is cautiously echoing the same message. We like to believe our thoughts are purely ours, that our sadness, anxiety, or urge to give up are born from our personality, our story, our soul. But what if that wasn't the whole truth? What if a part of your mental fog, your low energy, your hopelessness was being generated by an older, more primitive but incredibly powerful ecosystem inside you? What if a part of what you call me is actually the consequence of retained feces? It sounds outrageous at first, until biology starts laying down evidence that makes you pause. Your gut is not an empty tube. It's a bustling city inhabited by trillions of microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, archaea. This community is called the microbiota. When it's in balance, it is one of your strongest allies. It helps you digest food, make vitamins, regulate inflammation, and even shape your mood. But when the balance is disturbed by ultra-processed food, chronic stress, toxins, and yes, even stuck emotions, that microbiota can turn from guardian to saboteur, An unbalanced intestinal flora begins releasing harmful substances, inflaming the gut lining, loosening the tight junctions between cells. Some experts call this leaky gut. But underneath that scientific term is a deeper truth. The border between your inner world and the outer world begins to blur. See, toxins slip into the bloodstream, the immune system goes into defense mode, and many of these substances travel all the way to the brain, altering the way you think and feel. This isn't just a metaphor, it's neuroscience. Studies show that certain gut bacteria can manufacture neurotransmitters. Some species produce compounds similar to serotonin and dopamine. Others inhibit the body's natural creation of these chemicals. When this chemistry is disrupted, your emotional tone shifts, your perception of reality gets distorted, and your mind becomes crowded with thoughts and impulses that don't actually come from your deepest self. Yes, you read that correctly. What you have not let go of physically may be influencing what you believe about yourself. Picture this. For years, you've been carrying layers of retained waste, feeding colonies of bacteria that thrive on sugar, stress, and inner darkness. These microbes, like a tiny but relentless army, start to steer your neurochemistry. They push you to crave what keeps them alive and you stuck. Junk food, drama, numbing habits. And to resist what would set you free. They make you feel as if you can't change, as if you're not enough, as if you must settle for less. Because an intoxicated body doesn't naturally move toward freedom. It moves toward survival and comfort. That survival mode often shows up as paralysis, repeating the same painful patterns, staying in relationships that hurt, falling back into addictions you swore you were done with. And you blame yourself, convinced you lack discipline or strength, when in reality, the battlefield is much lower. In your gut, in the shadow you never wanted to face. This is why stories from people who have gone through deep intestinal cleansing can sound almost miraculous. It's not just that their digestion finally works, it's that their mind starts to feel like theirs again. The soul recovers space that was being occupied by chaos. Clarity rises like sunrise after a long, gray winter. It's not magic. It's what happens when your biology stops fighting you and starts supporting you. Many shamanic traditions talk about entities that cling to the body, spirits that feed off your energy and repeat destructive patterns through you. Today, we might say that some of those entities could take the form of dysbiosis, a toxic colon, a disrupted microbiota, an ecosystem gone rogue. They are biological, yes, but also deeply symbolic. Their power over you doesn't show up in horror movie dramatics. It shows up as thoughts that sound like your own voice but drag you down. So the real question becomes more radical than, am I constipated? It becomes, who is thinking for me? Who is occupying my energy field? What part of my being is being manipulated by a system fermenting in silence in my belly? When you cleanse your intestine, you're not only cleaning an organ, you are reclaiming your temple, your inner sky, your ability to choose. Only in a body that has been cleared can the soul speak without distortion. Are you willing to find out what lies beneath it all? Our modern culture has turned the act of pooping into something embarrassing, rushed, hidden. We pretend it's not happening, and we certainly don't talk about it. Yet our ancestors honored it as a ritual, a sacred appointment where body and soul aligned to let go of what was finished. Because in that simple, everyday act of elimination, there is a profound symbol, death and rebirth, ending and beginning, the transformation of heaviness into fertile emptiness. Letting go is not a small thing. It's a tiny death, a goodbye, a surrender. That's why it's so hard for us, clinging to what is familiar, even when it's rotting. feels safer than facing the unknown space that follows true release. In the same way, we pack our closets and garages with things we no longer need. We fill our bodies with matter that should have left long ago. We store outdated versions of ourselves, identities that no longer fit, stories that are no longer true, energies that don't belong to us anymore. The intestine becomes the safe box of that unresolved past. And every time you refuse to let go, that past grows heavier, louder, more present in your daily life. So what is constipation, really? Just a physical malfunction? Or a powerful metaphor for everything you're afraid to release? The path of intestinal purification is not a trendy detox or a quick diet for social media. It is a journey, a rite of passage into self-honesty, humility, and liberation. When you consciously choose to cleanse your gut, you're saying, "I'm ready for my ghosts to leave. I'm done being quietly poisoned by what's over." Ancient peoples used herbal enemas, long fasts, purges with revered roots and plants. They didn't do this just to cleanse the colon. They did it to open the energy channels, to prepare for visions, to empty the belly before ceremony, to make room for the sacred. They understood that the body is the altar of the soul. Today, you have many tools too. Enemas with chamomile, sea salt, organic coffee, cleanses with magnesium, psyllium husk, bentonite or white clay, gentle intermittent fasting or deeper intentional fasts. But more important than the method is your posture. If you cleanse only from fear of disease, fear of aging, you are still at war with yourself. If you cleanse as an act of love, as a way to honor your body, then every purge becomes a prayer. That's where true alchemy begins. After a profound intestinal cleanse, many people cry without knowing why. Others dream vividly of their childhood. Some feel a deep, quiet relief, as if a backpack they didn't know they had been carrying was finally set down. This is how the shadow leaves through the belly. Softly, humbly, without fanfare, but with massive impact. Because this is not just about letting go of poop. It is about releasing rage locked in your cells, disappointments you never voiced, self-betrayals you normalized, old grief, inherited fear, the need to control everything. It is about emptying enough space so you can hear your real inner voice again. The voice of the soul, which doesn't need to shout when the noise has been cleared. Turn your bathroom into a sanctuary, not a place of shame, but of reconnection. Turn off your phone, light a candle, breathe deeply. Place your hands on your belly and silently repeat, "I allow you to let go. I trust you to release what's done." Let this act become what it truly is, a portal. Because the person who evacuates with awareness is not just relieving their body, they are reclaiming their freedom, one humble moment at a time. And while most people laugh this topic off or look away in embarrassment, you can choose to treat it as a symbol of power. We've reached the end of a journey that hasn't been comfortable or glamorous. But it has been honest and necessary. Sometimes, to reach our highest sacred places, we must descend to the lowest, to what is most denied, to what sits at the bottom of our taboo. On the surface, we've been talking about poop, but in truth, we've been talking about weight, retention, shadow. Everything your wise body has been trying to get you to release for years. Every stomach cramp, every mysterious bloating, every wave of exhaustion for no reason has been a message. Please, let this go. And it's not only about your physical waste. It's about thoughts you inherited but never questioned. Relationships that drain you. Memories that already served their purpose. Emotions that turned from teachers into residue. It's about the layers of an identity you've outgrown but still drag with you out of habit. Your intestine is your final frontier. The most dense, the most physical, but also the most honest part of you. It doesn't flatter you. It doesn't spin stories. It doesn't play ego games. It has one request: let me move, let me flow. Respect the wisdom that has kept humanity alive for millennia. Thus, with every bowel movement, every purge, every cleanse, a door opens. A passage back to the version of you that exists beyond clutter and heaviness. Sometimes the soul doesn't expand because it lacks light, but because the body is saturated with shadow. Not a poetic, abstract shadow, but a real one, with texture, with smell, with weight and history. Accumulated poop is not just a side effect, it is a mirror that reflects all you've struggled to release. It is a literal symbol of the parts of your life you keep postponing. The world pressures you to grind, to rise and hustle, to constantly move forward. But how can you really move forward if you are full of yesterday's leftovers? In your gut and in your story, how will you birth new dreams if your inner channel is clogged with the remains of a life that is no longer yours? Letting go is not optional. It is the first step in any real awakening. And the intestine is the first door. Hidden, unglamorous, but fundamental. So make yourself a promise, not from fear, not because it's trendy, not because someone else says you should, but as an act of respect for your own path. Commit to emptying your belly, cleansing your temple, releasing your shadow. Only then, with a lighter body and an open heart, will you be able to raise your eyes and say with honesty, "Now I am truly ready to receive what's new." And if you feel that something in this journey has touched a raw, real place in you, remember this: the mysterious, the sacred, the transformative is not only hidden in ancient texts or distant galaxies. Some of it is right here, in your own belly, waiting to be released. And when you finally let it go, when you honor that most basic act as something holy, everything, absolutely everything, begins to shift. Your life doesn't just change from the head up, it changes from the gut out. Ah,